Hi guys, this is Stefan Jorgensen, the Code Chameleon, with a short video today discussing some of the news that have been coming up in recent days. Turns out that the NuGet packet fluid assertions has actually gone from a free model to a paid model. And that has caused quite a stir in the developer community. Well, there's probably two legs for this. The first thing is that the pricing model for fluid assertions is a little bit crazy. They would like $130 per developer to actually use fluent assertions. And if you don't know what fluent assertions does, I can just make a quick demo because it's not really that complex. Let's see that we have the good old calculator example. And we want to do our unit tests for this. Calculator. Should add two numbers, right? And I don't have xunit. Let me just get xunit installed. So, but basically what it does is give you another syntax that reads a little bit cleaner compared to what we see here. So this is like the traditional assert statement that actually asserts that the result is correct. Let's see, can we actually run the test? It should pop up over here. No, it does not. Are we missing the, what's it called, the MS test? Let's see. Oh, that's not what I want. Oh yeah, that's what I figured. Okay, if we build now, we should see our unit test. Yes, here we are. Okay, so this is just very, very plain unit test. But basically what fluent assertion does is that you, instead of having the assert.equal statement, you could write it in another way. Let's just install fluent assertions. If I can spell fluent assertions, here we are. And the paid model is the version 8, so don't use that one. The 7.1 should be okay. That's still free to use. They can't change that. So I'm just going to do a 7.1. So instead, what we can do with fluent assertion is we could do result should be 3. So these two lines essentially do the same thing. So it's just a syntactic sugar that makes the search statements a little bit easier on the eye, easier to read. And this is basically all that fluent assertion does, and that's what they want $130 per developer for, which is absolutely ridiculous. So, but that's one point. I think that there's a lot of discussions going on GitHub on the open source page for fluent assertions, that people think that it's absolutely ridiculous, and I totally agree. It's totally ridiculous price. But that actually got me thinking, because I think it's a recurring problem or a recurrent dilemma in the developer world, that we have so many NuGet packages in the open source community that is developed by developers in their spare time without any pay whatsoever. And they provide it on GitHub or whatever on NuGet.org for everyone else to use. And that includes, obviously, a lot of companies. And they don't pay anything to use these building blocks. And they're essentially standing on shoulders of giants. We're talking like big packages like Newtonsoft, which is like the biggest library for serialization and deserialization of JSON. It could be a Serilog, which is like a big logging framework. It could be Dapper, the minimalistic ORM database object relational mapper. And there's like tons and tons of NuGet packages that all these software companies actually use to produce their products that they sell for a profit, right? But they don't give anything back to the open source community. And I think that's a big problem. I think the main issue here is that the software world is now used to this stuff being free. So essentially, it's hard to go from the free model to the paid model, the move that Fluent Validation is actually trying to do. And I totally get that that developers want to be paid for their hard work. But it seems to me that the developers, that we, the developers, have kind of locked ourselves in a corner, so to speak, because everyone else expects the NuGet packages that we do to be free, because that's like the norm. That's the standard. So if you do a NuGet package and you want to be paid for everyone that uses it, it better be pretty damn good. And I'm talking a lot more than the Fluent Assertion good, at least if you want $130 per developer. But the thing is that the market expects these NuGet packages to be free. And it's hard to do that switch, to kind of give back to the open source community and the developers that put in the hours to actually make these things work. I don't have a solution for it, but I think it's interesting to actually talk about it and kind of put it on the radar, so to speak, because I think it's a big problem. I mean, the doom scenario could be the open source community actually imploding, and basically the developers are like, nope, not anymore. We don't want to do this anymore for free. So if you want us to do it, you have to pay us. And that would pose a big problem for a lot of companies to basically be in a situation where this used to be free, and now we have to pay for these, I don't know, 5, 10, 50, 100 NuGet packages that we want to use, incurring a big cost for them, and taking a big dent in the profit margins, obviously. So I think, I mean, that would be the worst case scenario, and obviously it wouldn't be like day-to-day thing, but we could fear that more and more developers do not want to contribute, because why should they, right? They're not getting paid. It's just like, we do this for free and no one even says thank you. That's just wrong, in my opinion. So I would say, like, the final word here would be, I hope a lot of companies, the CTOs and so on, kind of gets this on their political agenda and starts to give a little back to the open source community. You can do this in a lot of ways, right? But obviously, in the end, it comes down to giving credit to the developers. It could be monetary, it could be access to conferences, or I think there's a lot of different ways you could go about giving back to the community. But definitely get it on the political radar, because I don't think that enough companies do it as it is today. And I get why, because it's always been like this, but you have to kind of respect the work that developers do and the value that it actually gives to the products that you develop. So it would be in the interest of self-preservation, if you will, to actually kind of give a little bit back to the open source community. So yeah, with that short little rant, I hope that maybe we could start a discussion about this. And if you have any questions or comments, please reach out. I'd love to hear from you. That's all for me today. Have a nice day.